the past 18, 20 days thereabouts, our focus had been on the Super Falcons of Nigeria and their Olympic campaign. Now the tournament is over. Unfortunately for us, it was 3 games, 3 defeats, home early. One of the teams that we faced in the group stage that beat us 1-0 Brazil, they made it to the final of the tournament. One of the teams that beat us 1-0 Spain, they are playing in the bronze medal match. So looking at the Super Falcons now, the aftermath, the post-mortem, where do you think this team goes from here? Like,
Yeah, it's a very tough question now that is pregnant with meaning. But for me, I think we need to learn how to win again, learn how to dominate games and actually what win. Because looking at this team, we know that I like Randy Waldrum, fantastic manager. He was able to organize this team, but I think that this team can do better than what they are doing. And the coach must have a strategy. Like we must have different strategy to actually approach different games. When I saw the tactics that the Brazilian coach used today against Spain, the Spanish team they were not familiar with the tactics. And it's just good to be flexible. For me, I think the team should still stay with the coach. The coach should stay with the team, but I think it should talk for players that can give him options. One, I think we are toothless up front. We need to get a goal scorer. We need to get someone who can score goals. Unfortunately, our goal scorer is already on the wrong end too, of age. She's no longer young again. Our main goal scorer. That's what Agbabola herself, Oshuala. I think we need to get a goal scorer. I think we need to get players that can create opportunities in this team. Not that we're solid defensively, but we also need ball players. So, in my own opinion, if Randy Waldrum is going to stay with this team, he should talk for players that can actually improve this team. For me, I think that's where to go for this team. If we go with this team to the next AFCON, we'll not win the next AFCON.
hmm,
If there's no improvement with this team, we'll not win the next AFCON. We'll just be surprised again that maybe Morocco or South Africa will come again. We're out.
hmm,
So I think it needs to chop for players. They need to improve this team in some certain areas. For example, now looking for replacement for Christy Ushebe and Deborah Abiodun if they are injured. Looking for a proper number 10 that can handle the ball, that can move with the ball very well. So I think we need those little positions. As looking for a right back that can defend well, not necessarily beautiful. We need to look for anybody that can play for us. I can tell you if it's in Kaduna, if it's in Maduguri, if it's in Yola, any who can even if it's in America, if it's in, I don't know where you live, even Toronto, look as far as they qualify for play for Nigeria, no matter their background, please call them up if they're going to improve this team. That is it.
hmm. And I will say, obviously, people that watch me know that I love the Super Falcons. I have a special affiliation to them. When I created EaglesTracker in 2019, the first tournament I ever covered was the 2019 World Cup, where the Super Falcons, played in. So since then, I've just always loved the team. I remember reaching out to them, trying to get interviews, and the players were so happy because they were telling me then that they are going to World Cup. They said nobody has even reached out to them to even ask them about the tournaments or talk about it. So when I reached out, they were so excited. Even me with my 100 followers, that time, they were still so happy to talk because somebody was finally shining a light on them. So I've always loved the team. Olympics, disappointing. We've said this already. We don't have to get into it. 3 games, 3 defeats. It's not what we want. No matter who you play, even if we played all the best 3 countries in the world, you don't want to just go there and come out with 0 points. But I think for sure I want the coach to stay. I'm sure people are not surprised to hear me say this. I think that the coach has done a good job right now. Even though it looks as if things have plateaued and are not going up still, they need to be able to continue to push up. And I think one of the things that they need is consistency. I've spoken to a few of the Super Falcons players after the tournament, and I have an interview coming up with Nicole Payne that will be on our platform very soon. We'll talk about her career. We'll talk about the Olympics as well. Um, and a lot of the things that the players are telling me is that they want the coach to stay. When we're talking about the NFF with the Super Eagles, there's a lot of things that the players are lacking. I remember how the players had to fight to get a fitness coach. I remember they had to fight. It was an argument. They put their bonuses on the line just to fight for a fitness coach. The backroom staff of the Super Falcons is very weak. They have a coach. No matter what you think of that coach, whether it's the best coach in the world or it's the worst coach in the world, that coach needs some help, needs some support. Get him quality people that he trusts, that have resumes, that are deserving of the role to support the team. The opponents we face have multiple coaches, 4 or 5 people that are working day in, day out to make their teams better. We need that kind of, that kind of team as well with the Super Falcons. Without quality coaches, without quality support from Randy Waldrum, they can only go so far. So that's something I would say. They need quality around them. Again, unfortunately for us, we cannot go and buy players. We can only use who qualifies to be a Nigerian. But like Smith Layi said, we need to search far and wide. The way we were able to find Michelle Alozie to come and help us a little bit, the way we were able to find Esther Okoronkwo to come and help us a little bit. When I interviewed Okoronkwo, she said she came into Super Falcons through the window. No be even back down. Our window she used to join the team. But she has shown us that she's a good player. The way we were able to find Jennifer Echegini playing in college. I have girls that send me DMs that say, hey, I play in Ireland. I'm Irish and Nigerian. I play in England. I'm English and Nigerian. And I would love a chance to represent Nigeria. I have about 5 of them in my DM as I'm talking to you today. They need to find these girls, even from the youth level, integrate them into the system, treat them well. Sometimes when these girls reach out to me, I find it hard to say, yes, come and play for us. Because the same way, I also have a girl that played for Nigeria under 20. Under 20, not even a professional footballer. And they told her to pay for her flights, that they will give her the money back. 3 years later, she still a DM me say, more AyoT, I never see my money. A 19-year-old girl, imagine. She probably had to go and borrow money to pay for that flight just because she wanted to represent her country. 3 years later, she's still fighting for that money. She told me that nobody's picking her call again. She's sending a message, nobody's answering her. So we need to get many things right. There are some things that I know that the players went through, even at this Olympics. Even the coach himself, I just don't have rights to say certain things because they were told to me in confidence. But even the coach himself, some things that he went through on a personal basis, just to be able to coach the team at this Olympics. Things that the players went through at these Olympics. So we need to get many of these backroom things right. The coach did an interview with ESPN just yesterday or today. And he spoke about how, when he joined, he wanted to bring a different kind of organization that we did not have before. He wanted us to be able to do things the right way. But then how many years down the line since he joined? And we are still doing things the exact same way that we were doing them before. We need to get these things right. We need to give the players adequate preparation. Again, we are talented. We always talk about how, some people won't tell you that there's somebody in Ibadan that is better than Messi. Some people will tell you that there's somebody in Akure that is better than Ronaldo. We say all these things about how we have so much talent. And don't get me wrong, I agree. Nigerians are supremely talented. But if we are not able to put the platforms in place, put the resources in place, put the facilities in place to harness these talents, put the structures in place for these talents to grow, then we are going to continue to fall short. Look at our sports. Across all sports in Nigeria, we're a maybe team. Maybe. Nearly. Look at Super Eagles. Nearly. Super Falcons. Nearly. Basketball. Nearly. Every once in a while, we'll beat one big team. We'll be excited. But then after that, we'll come back down again. Back down to earth. We need to get many, many things right so that we can stop being a nearly team and we can start being a team that achieves. As much as it pained me that we did not win the last AFCON, now I'm talking about Super Eagles. If we had won the AFCON, NFF would have thought, things are going great. We're doing a fantastic job, but then we didn't win it. So it opened people's eyes to continue to see that many things are not going right. And the ladies, they imagine as bad as things are for the Super Eagles. Trust me, it is ×2 for the Super Falcons. It is ×2 for the Super Falcons. So there's many things that we need to get right. But coming back to what next, I think they should keep the team together, keep the coach. Some of the experienced players like Ohale probably on the outside looking in. Tochukwu Oluehi probably on the outside looking in. Oshowala, I think, will still be in the team, but we have to start thinking about life after her. The older players like Ainde, for example, she's like 28, 29 now. Unfortunately, she missed this Olympics because of injury. We have to start thinking of, what if she's not available, who can we bring in that will be able to do a job at the same level? The areas that we are not doing well, like in attack, unfortunately, the coach cannot be teaching the attackers how to shoot. At this level, that's not what he's supposed to teach them. But we need to figure out why we are getting things wrong and how we can improve. If it is that we need to go and scout for one Nigerian born striker somewhere that is deadly, we need to scout and implement and integrate the person into the team. Once we can get these things right, we will start to, surpass being a nearly team. It is not a good sign that if we are missing two of our first team players, all of a sudden we don't look like the team that we know that we can be. It's not a good thing. We need to have depth. We need to have a good bench. We need to have adequate replacements. We are top heavy right now. And even that top that we are heavy, they are not firing on all cylinders. So many things to be fixed, but I think there's so much potential in this team. There's so much that can be done if the NFF and the coach and the players give everything. I know that the players are already giving everything. The coach is giving as much as he can give right now, but there's more to give. But for him to give that more, I think the NFF needs to also give their own. Because, for example, he's working part-time for the Super Falcons. So just by virtue of having two jobs, he can only give so much time to Nigeria. If he was working full-time, I believe that he'll be doing a better job. Because every single day he wakes up, all he'll be thinking about is Nigerian football, Super Falcons. He will actually have time to be traveling to games to go and watch players. He will actually have time to be scouting, to see who is doing well, who is not doing well. But he doesn't have all that time now. And the reason is because of the NFF and their cheap salary that they are paying him, And unfortunately, even that cheap salary, they are still owing him. They still owe him from time to time, so he cannot quit his job. These are the little things. When we play against Morocco now at the next WAFCON, if Morocco should beat us, people will be saying, how can Morocco be beating us? Super Falcons used to be so good. But then they don't look at all the things that Morocco are doing. They just hired the coach that won the World Cup with Spain last year. They are trying their hardest. Yes, I know that we used to win these competitions with ease before. Some people say, sometimes I undermine the achievements of the former Super Falcons players. And if it sounds like that, I apologize. But for me, I look at it that we used to win a lot when other national teams were not even paying any attention to their own female teams. Before Botswana, then they play women's football. Even all them Cameroon, all those, they didn't used to take it seriously. Morocco did not take it seriously. In fact, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but up until maybe the last 20 years or so, Moroccan women themselves, they could barely allowed to play football. South Africa, now that every country now is taking it seriously. So it's not a surprise that teams are catching up to us because everybody's taking it seriously. We are not. It's only when it's time for tournaments that we pay attention to the team. Many things that we need to get right. But all in all, we'll keep supporting the Super Falcons. There's a WAFCON coming up next year. Of course, we want them to win it. But then, it's not their birthright anymore. For anybody that thinks that we're just going to go there and we'll just walk over everybody and win it, it's not our birthright anymore. Other teams have stepped up. Other national teams have stepped up. It's not our birthright. We would need to get things right. We will need to be very good. We will need to prepare properly. And maybe we'll have one or two new players in the team by then. Let's see.